Do you know what time it is? Because I certainly do. It's Champions League prediction time, but it's the playoffs. Champions League playoff prediction time as well. Hello and welcome here to this video, as today, like last year, we will be predicting the playoff round. However, there's going to be a twist. There will be a second episode coming out next week, so that will cover the second legs. So this is the first legs I'm going to cover, the ones that, well, are already gonna take place. But the second leg, which will be next week, is where we will finally know which 7 sides will be going through to that illustrious Champions League phase. Who knows? It could be anyone on this list. The question is, who will it be? Who will that team be who will get themselves through to the first ever Champions League phase? As well, just like that then, let's get underway and let's talk about the first game in full. So from UEFA's base in Neon, we will be travelling up to the Aspamira Stadion, all the way up in the Arctic. Björn Glimt v Crvena Zvezda, and yes, the first game we will be talking about will be placed up in the Arctic. In the Arctic Circle comes this Norwegian club called Björn Glimt, that have produced the likes of Ola Solbakken, Hugo Wetzelen, and most famously of the lot, Victor Boniface from, well, Nigeria. He decided to come there to Björn Glimt in 2019, and look himself now. He is an absolute phenomenon, balling out there at Bayer Leverkusen, and it all started at this little tiny Norwegian club called Björn Glimt. And well, what do we think? This is a very hard place to win for away sides. This is a very hard place to win. Do we obviously know famous results like the Roma 6-1 that happened? Björn Glimt did beat Jose Mourinho's Roma by 6-1, and that was the year where Roma did end up lifting the Conference League trophy in Tirana after beating Arne Slot's Feyenoord by 1-0. So that pretty much shows that Björn Glimt here can be a very, very hard side. And I think Crvena Zvezda, Red Star Belgrade, will already know that. I mean, Vajdan Milojevic, the former Crvena Zvezda manager, who obviously was head coach during when they did beat Liverpool at the Stadio Rajko Mitic, one of the results that I'm sure Red Star Belgrade fans will definitely remember because of Milan Pavskov's 2 goals. But yeah, they beat the eventual winners. Liverpool were not defeated in any way meaning, but Crvena Zvezda did that. They did it at Rajko Mitic in a very loud and ferocious crowd, and it caught Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool off guard, and they ended up winning there by 2-0. But what do we think about this game? This game will be a very good game, let me tell you. I think it will be a very enthusiastic game. I think Crvena Zvezda and Björn Glimt will both have a lot of ball. I think it will be a bit of a 50-50 possession. Björn Glimt have never qualified into the Champions League, so if they can get a result here, a very good one, going into the Rajko Mitic, they will be on high confidence, thinking they can qualify in their first ever UEFA Champions League. Knud Knudsen has already made history in this tiny little Norwegian town. Can he do it on the big stage of the Champions League? We do not know, but I will say this. I think Björn Glimt will win this one. I think they will win this game in particular. I'm not too sure about the second leg there at the Rajko Mitic, but I do think here and in the Aspamira Stadion, they will get a decent result. So that is why I am going to say it will finish Björn Glimt 2, Red Star Belgrade 0. I think Björn Glimt will be really good here at this ground. They always are. I think going into the Maracana or the Rajko Mitic, that will be very hard to tell between who will win. But I think Björn Glimt will have high confidence in this game. I'm sure Red Star will too, but I think the Norwegians will just edge it out this one. So, from the Arctic, we are going to head down this time towards the Stade du Hainaut in Valenciennes for LOSC Lille versus Slavia Prague. And what I do think about this game is this game will be very, very intriguing between the two sides. Slavia Prague, they did beat Union Saint-Gilloise to get to this stage, LOS Lille beat Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce, and they did manage to beat Fenerbahce in Istanbul, which is impressive. Very, very impressive in itself. I'm sure all of the Turkish people watching weren't happy that day. Well, the Fenerbahce fans anyway. But this is a completely different game. And for Lille, this is a completely different opponent. This is Slavia Prague. We do know a lot of Czech teams. The stereotypical image there of the Czech Republic side is, well, very defensive. Slavia Prague don't do that. In the Europa League, they finished first in their group ahead of AS Roma. I believe they beat Roma fairly comfortably in all that game by 3-0. So they are a very good side. We know that. We know that Slavia Prague were a very good side. Ginilic Trybowski has managed to make Slavia Prague a European force and a European pedigree in Czech Republic. There for Lille, it's obviously Bruno Genioso. He wants to start off strong. He wants to start off strong there, the former Stade Rennais and Beijing One manager, and he wants to get that Champions League qualification. And for Lille, they want it. They want it simple. When Marseille got knocked out by Panathinaikos in the European qualifiers, they were devastated, Marseille fans. And I think the whole of France was devastated because they realised that is one big thing there for the UEFA coefficient gone. The fact that you've instead got 3 teams instead of 4. So this for France and for the UEFA coefficient is massive because who knows if there's 4 Champions League teams that could potentially push France back into the top 5, which would mean France would have a guaranteed place, would have 4 guaranteed places in the UEFA Champions League for the incoming season. So how do I think it will come out? How do I think it will work out? I think it will work out very strong there for the two sets. I think it will work out very strong, especially there for Lille. I think Lille will be the better team. On paper, they have the better team and the better squad. So that is why I'm going to go very strong there in Lille's favour and to say this game will end up being 3-1. Granted, this game isn't held in Lille, it's held in Valenciennes. I do think Lille will beat them very comfortably. I really do. And I think Jonathan David there will get 2 goals. And I think there will be another player there that will get a goal in the mix. It was a shame, obviously, to see Angel Gomez the way he were. He obviously had a head injury the previous game, so he will not be playing this game. But I am going to say it will be Jonathan David there for 2. And you know what? The young Icelandic Hakon Haraldsson will get another one. So that is why I'm saying it will be Lille 3, Slavia Prague 1. I think for Slavia Prague, one of the midfielders, potentially Václav Juritka will get a goal. So that is why I'm saying Lille 3, Slavia Prague 1. Lille will win this pretty comfortably, if you ask me. Then in France, let's go all the way down there to Croatia, aka the Balkans. Dinamo Zagreb versus Karabag. And this is the first time I've actually talked about these two clubs on here. I've never talked about Karabag and I've never talked about Dinamo Zagreb. The last time Dinamo Zagreb were in the Champions League was last year, but then they did end up losing there to AEK Athens, which meant because of that, Zagreb went down into the Europa League. They lost that to Sparta Prague, and then they went down to the Europa Conference League last year. Karabag, they had a really good run there in the Europa League. Famously, the result where they could have ended up knocking out Bayer Leverkusen. They were that close to knocking out Bayer Leverkusen. But a 93rd and a 97th minute goal there from Patrick Schick ended their hopes and ended their dreams to becoming the first ever Azzurri side to ever qualify in a Europa League knockout round. But I'm sure because of that, Karabag will be impressed, and I'm sure their hopes have, been really good for this. So I think both sides are coming off with a little bit of a much more morale boost. Dinamo Zagreb, they did lose to PAOK in the last 16, 5-3 on aggregate on that one. So I think both sides will be pretty comfortable. Both sides will be pretty comfortable. I think the problem is, though, the possession-wise. Dinamo Zagreb in the Conference League, they averaged 54.5% possession. Karabag, when they were in the Europa League, they averaged 42%. So that does mean that, Karabag aren't really possession-based side, but they are a side that are they can go on the attack, I suppose. They're not a side that does tiki-taka and likes to get the ball. They're a side that can score. Obviously, in the Azerbaijani league, when they did win it last year, Karabakh, 97 goals they scored and 37 conceded. So that means to me, Karabakh are a very counter-attacking side, and when they attack, they can very much concede a goal. Dynamo Zagreb, 67 goals and 30 conceded, but that's typical there from a Balkan Croatian side, a more defensive pack. So, how do I think the score will be? Dynamo Zagreb, they are automatically in this because of where they are, Croatia, in the league rankings. Karabakh, they did come here thanks to beating Ludogorets 7-1, I think, or 7-2 in Bulgaria, which meant because of that, they are here at this stage. So I think both sides will be pretty comfortable. Karabakh have played more games, so they will be a better side. Dynamo Zagreb, they haven't, but they have the experience and they have the players too. So I think because of the players-wise, and because of all of that, Dynamo Zagreb know how to experience with this pressure, Karabakh don't. I'm saying Zagreb win. I'm going to say a 2-1 Zagreb win. It'll be tight. It'll be very tight. But I think Dynamo Zagreb will just get them thanks to a late-minute goal. I think it will be like an 85th minute goal or something that will finish the game off there for Karabakh. They still do have the second leg there in Baku, but I think here in Croatia, Dynamo Zagreb will take charge of that on-field, home-field advantage. That's why I'm saying Dynamo Zagreb 2, Karabakh 1. So then, from the Maksimir Stadium in Zagreb, let's go slightly east there to the Arena Lublin in Poland, where Dynamo Kiev will play against RB Salzburg. And the reason why they are playing here in the Arena Lublin instead of the Niski Olimpijski there in Ukraine is because of, well, we all know what's been happening. Dynamo Kiev haven't played in Ukraine for 2 years, 3 years. So because of that, they have had to play in the safest place nearer to Ukraine. That is why they've picked here in Lublin. Lublin, I believe, is only about 100 kilometres away there from the west of Ukraine towards Lviv. So that is why they've picked here in Lublin. And I do think that this is a reasonable place there to have a game. However, it's not what Dynamo Kiev wanted. They would have wanted to have a game in the Niski Olimpijski, packed there with 60,000 Ukrainians, packed to the rafters, hopefully to see their side go through there to the Champions League. But Salzburg and Dynamo Kiev, they've had completely separate ways. RB Salzburg, to get here, they beat FC Twente by 5-4 in a very thrilling game, thanks to Moritz Kjærgaard scoring 3 goals in the 2 games. Then Dynamo Kiev, they obviously defeated Rangers there by 3-1 at Hampden Park. It was not played at Ibrox this game, which I think even for Rangers fans were a shame. But that win, they are here in the Champions League playoffs. And what do we expect? Dynamo Kiev and RB Salzburg both have new managers. RB Salzburg, you might know a little bit more familiarly. Dynamo Kiev, Alexander Shovkovsky, he will want them to advance in the UCL. He averages 2.59 points per match, which means every match he's pretty much managed is 3 points. RB Salzburg, Pep Linders, obviously Jurgen Klopp's former assistant there at Liverpool. He's the manager of Salzburg, and he will want to get them into the Champions League, just like Jurgen Klopp there at Liverpool, getting them in just fine. So, Salzburg are a team that you expect in the Champions League. Dynamo Kiev are, but they aren't at the same time. They're not like Salzburg, who are usually in every year. Salzburg are unbeaten in the league. They're 9 points and 3 wins. Dynamo Kiev, I believe, is second place in them at 2 points behind Shakhtar Donetsk. So that means, obviously, Salzburg are going into better form. How do I think this game will pan out? I think this will pan out in an RB Salzburg win. I think here in Lublin, it's strange. It's very strange to have a game not playing in your country. It's very strange. And you are the home side. It's practically like an away game there for Kiev. Salzburg, they'll just think it's any other away day, they'll be fine. And I do think Salzburg will finish the job here. That is why I'm going to say it will be an easy 3-0 Salzburg win. I'm going like that. Straight up facts, straight on opinion. I think this result will guarantee Salzburg Champions League qualification. I think even if they lose in Salzburg, it won't even matter, because I think this result will be that big and that massive. Dynamo Kiev will not be able to contain Salzburg's attack, and I think Salzburg will just wipe the floor all over Dynamo Kiev on this game. That is why I'm calling it out. Salzburg 3, Dynamo Kiev 0. Dynamo Kiev will have to produce some sort of miracle to qualify into the Champions League, thanks to that second leg. Then, from the Arena Lublin, let's head up north toward the Eleda Stadion there in Malmö, where we will see our next game between Malmö FF and Sparta Prague. And well, what we do know here is both sides played really well, but both sides had to fight to get to this position. And I certainly know that for Malmö's side. First of all, there for Sparta Prague, they ended up beating SCSB, I believe, Stoia Bucharest in Romania, which meant because of that, they went through to the playoff round. And well, for Malmö, they ended up defeating PAOK in the most dramatic of ways possible. Similar to, like I said, Bayer Leverkusen did there to Karabakh, Malmö did to PAOK. They scored a goal in the 96th minute to make it go into extra time, and then they scored a goal there in the 99th minute, which defeated PAOK by 6-5 and made them qualify into the playoffs. So that shows that both sides have determination, and they have had to fight to get to this position. That is for sure. However, in the league, Sparta Prague have 100% record. Malmö, out of 19 games, they have 44 points and have scored 47 goals, and they are top of the table, similar there to Sparta Prague. So both sides, you can tell, are a very enthusiastic and very fighting team. They will want to win to get in this Champions League stage, that is for sure. So how do I think the game will go? I think it will go very smooth sailing there for both teams, but it will strike. Lightning will strike twice, and it will strike in this game. I think this game will be a very entertaining one, that is for sure, there, for all the Swedes to watch. So I'm calling this now. It will finish in a 2-2 draw. Malmö v Sparta Prague, first leg there in Malmö, it will be a 2-2 draw. It will be a very good game, I think, for neutral eyes to watch. It will be a very enthusiastic game between Sparta Prague and Malmö, who will try and tactically themselves thinking, who's better here? Who's better and who's worse? And I do end up thinking they'll equal each other out, and it doesn't surprise me if there will be a last-minute goal involved in this game, because I truly believe this game has capability to be a very, very good one, that is for sure, between the Czech champions and the Swedish champions. That's why I'm calling it a 2-2 draw. Sebastian Nanisi will score 2 goals there for Malmö. Then I think Jan Kukta will score a goal, and why not, Veljko Brmanečević, he will get 1-2. Euro call up there for Serbia. He's going to do well this one indeed there for Sparta Prague. 2-2 it will finish. Next up, we will just be heading down the road to Denmark to the MCH Arena, where Midtjylland will be facing against Slovan Bratislava. And this is the most intriguing one in the lot, for my opinion, because these are two sides that don't usually have the chance to play in the Champions League. Midtjylland, they've only been in it in one occasion, and that was in the 2020-21 season, where they had no fans due to COVID. So this will be magnificent there for the Midtjylland fans to actually experience a proper Champions League tie, facing against the Slovakian champions of Slovan Bratislava. Slovan Bratislava have never qualified to the Champions League. So similar there to Midtjylland, now they've only been in it once. Slovan Bratislava have never even been in the Champions League. So this for Slovan Bratislava is Vladimir Weiss's perfect opportunity to make history. He has been the Slovan Bratislava manager for an awfully long time. So that will mean if he can get Bratislava to the Champions League, it would be the first ever time. They would be the fourth ever Slovakian side to make it through to the group stage. That, my friends, is some sort of achievement, and that is what Slovan Bratislava can do this week if they do end up beating Midtjylland. However, for Midtjylland, they have a good side. They have a very good side. Thomas Bergs, it will be his first UCL game. He used to manage Midtjylland the 2008-9 season, but this squad has drastically changed since the last one. Drastically changed. And you could see the manager has drastically changed. The Midtjylland manager at the time was Brian Pieska, who actually has links to the former club because he used to manage Sparta Prague. But Brian Pieska, he is now the new Feyenoord manager. Do you know who he's replacing? Arne Slot, who I think I referenced before. Arne Slot, who is the new Liverpool manager. So that is how weird football can be at times. How you can have a manager starting off his career in no offence, a tiny club like Midtjylland, and then he becomes really good and becomes a new Feyenoord manager. Who knows? Brian Pieska might be the new Liverpool manager once Arne Slot leaves. That's football. It's a very weird game. It's a very weird game indeed. So, Slovan Bratislava averaged 57.8% possession last season. Midtjylland averaged 46.9%. So if that's anything, you will expect from Midtjylland a very attacking game. If it's from Slovan Bratislava, you're expecting a very passing-given game. So that might work, but it might not. So it's going to be a key. It's going to be like that. Who do I think will get the goal? Who do I think will not get the goal? And do you know what? I think the safest bet for this game is 0-0. Because I truly don't know who to go for. Slovan Bratislava are a very high-scoring side. But Midtjylland are too. I mean, they beat Apoel by 2-0. That was only because they beat them in Bratislava. When they did play away in Nicosia, it was a 0-0 draw. And I think it will be the exact same here in Herning, home of Midtjylland. I think they will try their best to score, but I think both sides will cancel each other out. That's why I think this will be a fair enough representation scoreline of 0-0. The second leg will be at grabs there in Bratislava. And then finally, we will be heading to the best stadium name of the lot, the Stadion Wankdorf in Bern, Switzerland, which is home there to Bern Sport Club Young Boys, BSC Young Boys. It is home there to BSC Young Boys, as they currently play the Turkish champions of Galatasaray. And I do obviously have fond memories of these two clubs. I really do have fond memories of these two clubs. They have both beaten Manchester United. Galatasaray have beaten us more recently than Young Boys have, but they have still beaten Manchester United. Young Boys beat Manchester United at the Stadion Wankdorf by 2-1. Galatasaray beat us at Old Trafford by 3-2. That is most famously shown by my match vlog that I do have a link to, and it will be coming your way. But yeah, Galatasaray, they were a very good side, I thought. They were a very entertaining side. However, they can concede. They can concede for days. Galatasaray exactly represents how Turkey were in the Euros. How they're a very good attacking side, but conceding, they will concede for days. And they look like they can concede at any moment. That is exactly what Galatasaray, for me, watching them at Old Trafford and seeing them during the Champions League last year, shown why they were a bit 50-50. You're guaranteed a good game, though, when you're watching Galatasaray. For Young Boys, you are guaranteed a good game. They finished third in the Champions League 2023-24 season with Group G with 4 points. Now, this is very unique because this is the only game that both sides come into this without playing a single game of the Champions League qualifying. They have come into this and they will either go into the Europa League or go into the Champions League. That is how it is. All the other sides that I've talked about, barring from Dynamo Zagreb, have had to play qualifying rounds. These two teams haven't. So this will be very intriguing for them. And Crvena Zvezda, they are another one who haven't yet to play qualifying match. What do I expect? I expect a good game. I do expect a good game. Problem is there for Young Boys. They have done rubbish in this league. They've done rubbish in the Swiss league. For their opinion, they've been crap in the Swiss league. They've only had 2 points in the last 5 games. 6 scored, 13 conceded. That is double the amount of goals scored you've conceded. That is bad. For Young Boys, that is really bad. You don't want to be acting like Young Boys playing in the league. You want to be acting like young professional men. And that is what Young Boys have done, but this year they've not been great. They've not had a great start, which I think will be a problem. And I think Galatasaray will capitalise on that. I really do. I think Galatasaray, scoring-wise, they can score for days. They've got Mauro Icardi, for my opinion, he was one of the best strikers in the world. They've still got him. They've got Michy Batshuayi from Fenerbahce. He's a potent goal scorer. He can score goals. Young boys do. We've got Silveri Janvola, but he's not on the level of them two, really. You've got Filip Ugrenic there, a key midfielder. But, like I said, they're not really at that capable level. So, what am I going to say for this one? The final game, I am going to predict the Galatasaray win. But it will be entertaining. It will be an entertaining win. I think this is going to be one that I'm going to say it will be a 3-2 game. It will be 3-2 game, but Galatasaray will win this by 3-2. You're guaranteed entertainment with Galatasaray. That's what you're guaranteed. And the entertainment will not stop at the Stadium Bankdorf. It will not stop. And I think Galatasaray will score goals. I think Young Boys will score goals. Defensively, it'll be rubbish, but it'll be an excellent game to watch. It'll be a brilliant game to watch there on Wednesday. So that is why I'm going to say it will be 3-2 there to Galatasaray. Galatasaray will have the firm control going into the second leg there in the Rams Park, at the Rams Park next week in Istanbul. But 3-2 Galatasaray, I'm saying this game will finish. So then, just like that, I will get going. Brilliant video, this one, as always. This always is. Champions League playoffs, you cannot beat them. You really cannot beat a Champions League playoff round. And this is the first leg. Next week, we'll be having the second leg. So I'll be talking to you, who do I think will win the game and who I think will qualify into the UEFA Champions League stages. Who will it be? With 7 teams, who will do? The answer is, which one will it be? Which team will it be? As I will get going, I will go. See you soon then. Stay safe. I'll be talking to you lot then in the next one. See ya and bye-bye.